What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Top 5 Scary Videos. Whenever researchers find a new discovery, it's always a mixed bag of emotions for me. Like, for example, last year they got a photo of a black hole. It's absolutely amazing, but equally terrifying. I feel like the more we discover, the more we realize how small and insignificant we actually are. Some discoveries have yet to have a logical explanation, and here to break a few of them down for you, I'm Taylor McWatters, and here are top 5 scary discoveries that cannot be explained. Number 5. Spiral graves. Okay, remember in Game of Thrones when all those body parts were left in like a crazy weird spiral formation? The Night King or the whatever king was doing it? I don't know. Imagine if you were walking and all of a sudden you see that. I would probably throw up on the spot. Well, that's pretty close to what was found beneath Mexico City in 2006. Archaeologists discovered a 2,400-year-old burial site containing 10 bodies, placed in a very peculiar way. The bodies were found roughly 4 feet beneath a building at the Pontifical University of Mexico. And here's the weird part. The bodies were found in a spiral formation around a centric point, as if they were kind of moving around something. Which is even weirder, the arm bones were interlocked, so it's like, were they placed there on purpose? What's going on here? To quote Jimena Rivera, director of the Project of Excavation and Archaeological Salvage, nailed that one I think, there was one individual over the other. So for example, the head of one individual was like in the chest of another, and the hand of one dude was like under the back of another guy. What a weird party. And the craziest part, the body of a baby was found on top of another body. This whole thing is just disgusting. What kind of ritual was this? There's been no previous record of a burial done that way, so why now? It's still unclear why this burial site even exists, or why the bodies were placed in such odd ways. Who knows, maybe it was a surprise birthday party and the guy didn't show up, so they just stayed there for 2,000 years. That, my friend, is commitment. Number 4, the London Hammer. Found in 1936 in London, Texas, not London, England, or London, Ontario. We don't talk about that third one. A man named Max Hahn and his wife spotted a strange rock that seemed to have a wooden handle sticking out of it. Now, of course, they were curious, so they went over and took a closer look. They realized that the wooden handle was moving a bit, but the rock was wrapped around it. Odd. So once the rock was then cracked open, it was revealed that there was a hammer inside of the rock. Thor, is this yours? The rock itself dates to be back from the Ordovician period, which was about 400 million years ago, give or take. Which is pretty wild considering that human beings have only really been around for about 200,000 years. So what's the deal? Is this hammer from the future, Asgard? We need answers now. The hammer itself is in amazing condition for being as old as it is. Strangely enough, parts of the handle have actually turned into coal, yet the 96% iron hammerhead has yet to rust. I've gone through like 3 bikes in my adult life. The rust got 2 of them real good, real good. This hammer must have been covered in CLR. Or a mystery is afoot, I don't know. The hammer is 6 inches long and 1 inch thick, and it doesn't look like it was made by accident. The hammer is actually very similar to late 1800 man-made tools, so the discovery has us stumped. How can something be made that long ago by humans? Many believe this is the first piece of evidence that time travel exists. Also, how is it still intact? I feel like the wood should have broke off ages ago. If you want a glimpse of the mystery hammer yourself, you can find it on display right now in the Creation Evidence Museum in Glen Rose, Texas. And then you can decide for yourself. Number 3, Antikythera Mechanism. After being submerged for over 2,000 years, we believe we found the oldest known analog computer to date. Discovered in 1902 by Greek politician Spyridon Stais, this clock-sized device was said to be made sometime between 70 and 200 BCE. That's an old clock. More like a great-grandfather clock, am I right? So does this thing track your steps? Can it change songs? No and no. It was actually meant for much more. This extremely complex piece of history was meant to calculate the positions of astronomical objects. Containing over 30 spinning gears and wheels, and colored rocks even, to mark which planet was which, the Antikythera Mechanism also tracked the moon, the sun, all the eclipses, and most importantly, what day the Olympics are. Talk about a cool reminder. I think it was yesterday. Sorry, I know, it was, I messed up, I f***ed up, sorry guys. We're not quite sure how humans figured this out that long ago, but each additional piece we discover gets us closer to our very old truth. The closest discovery we have to this device are medieval cathedral clocks, but those were built about a millennium later, so where did this come from? Aliens? Autobots? You be the judge. Number 2, the Black Knight Satellite. First discovered in 1954 by Dr. Lincoln La Paz, the Black Knight satellite is the oldest recorded satellite in history. When news broke that La Paz had discovered the satellite, it was a pretty eye-opening headline, considering that there were no countries that have actually launched a satellite at that time yet. And it was photographs of the Black Knight that were released in 1998 that caught our attention. This photo. Now, before jumping to the conclusion that this is an alien space knight, the Pentagon initially thought that the Russians had just beaten them into space. Now, space journalist James Oberg says it's just a lost piece of heating equipment from when they were building the International Space Station. Oh yeah, you sure about that, James? Huh? What, do you work for NASA or something? He does? Huh. While that theory does make a lot of sense, there are still other factors that play into this conspiracy. Nikola Tesla previously discovered some strange signals that many believe was actually the same Black Knight satellite. While at his laboratory in Colorado Springs in 1899, he picked up radio signals that he believed came from, well, another planet. Who knows, maybe the Black Knight will just collide with Elon Musk's space car and then he'll just fire up the engine and head down to Earth. I feel like that's the only thing left for 2020 at this point. And lastly, number 1. Gobekli Tepe. When you think of old man-made landmarks, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? The pyramids maybe? Stonehenge perhaps? Discovered in 1994 in Sanliurfa, Turkey, Safak Yildiz came across a stone that had an unusual shape to it that was sticking out of the ground and decided to get a closer look. Who knows, maybe it's another one of those time-traveling hammers. Once realizing it was attached to a much larger rock, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt came in and dug up the grounds. What he found was much cooler than an oddly shaped rock. See, this rock was actually a T-shaped pillar and was one of a dozen found. And each pillar was around 20 tons, covered with carvings of animals like birds and insects. And the best part? The rock dates to be about 60,000 years older than Stonehenge. Excuse me? Around each of the massive pillars were large circles of stones, and each of these stone monuments would have taken years to be moved, first of all, and the carvings on top of that? This is just wild. So what is this? Why is this here? Well, Klaus Schmidt believed that it was for ancient funerals, and had hoped that during the exploration he would find bodies under rock circles or under the pillars. That's a wild thing to hope for. I've never been here at work and been like, I really hope I find some bodies hidden under some rocks. Fingers crossed. They didn't find anything though, and we have yet to find any signs of previous life on the site to this day, or plant life for that matter. Some researchers have even gone so far to say that it's the biblical Garden of Eden. So what do you think Gobekli Tepe is hiding? Let us know in the comments down below. Well, there you have it, guys. Which scary unexplained discovery did we miss? Let us know in the comments so we can check those ones out as well. And also make sure you hit that little notification bell thing so that you're up to date on our newest videos. And if you haven't already subscribed, what are you doing? Just click the damn button. Until next time, see ya. Archaeologists. Awesome. Welcome back to Top 5 Reasons Why I Should Learn How to Read. Okay, here we go. The bodies were found roughly 4 feet beneath a building at the Pontifical, I think that's right, Pontifical? The rock itself dates back to be from the Ordovician period. Try it again.